Hear, O Israel, the great I am is the only power for you. The great I am is one. Speak peace on the seventh day of rest. Rise, O Israel. Welcome to World War III. Today's reference will be Genesis chapter 4, verse 26. Today's discussion will be the name of God. Now, folks, I'll say the three major religions, the three major Abrahamic faiths out there, they say they make use of the name of God. Well, actually, they say they do not use the name of God. Christianity has used, from what the Masoretic Jewish sages has done, they say that they use uppercase Lord and lowercase Lord, uppercase God and lowercase God. And when you go back into the translation, the transliteration and translation of these words, you'll find out that these are not the name of God. These are basically, their titles instead. So let's get into the quick note here for 1 second. Adrenalchrome, which is something that is becoming more popular in high society, in we'll say the superstar world, the entertainment world. Adrenalchrome, and this is plasma or hemostatic medicine. Second, you have placenta eating, and placenta eating is primarily something that white women do. After they've given birth, they eat the placenta, which follows the child out of the birth canal. Number two. And number three, foreskin sucking, which is on record. They call it the brit milah in Yiddish, which is an Ashkenazi Jewish tradition. Now, again, this is the quick note. In Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 23, blood is specifically forbidden for Hebrews to partake in. You're not to be eating blood. This is a law. This is a law that is strictly forbidden. Again, in the beginning, in Genesis, we have Abel, his blood cried up to the Most High. And in the end, the book of Revelation, the blood of the saints who are being tested in Jacob's trouble, their blood will also cry up to the Most High. Now, in the Jewish, the Talmud, the Talmudic literature, you have, I believe it's Shabbat 135 through 137b. Now, they're talking about a hermaphrodite baby. Now, a hermaphrodite is a child who has both sexes. Now, the chosen people are of pure blood. And the reason the chosen people are of pure blood is because they don't practice these blood covenants that I just explained. And in your own science, in your own modern science, they will tell you that the Negro or the Africans are of pure blood, more pure than any other race on the planet. This is your European discoveries, your European sciences that say this. I don't have to be called a racist when your own science say that. I'm not even trying to be a racist. I have not a drop of racist blood in me. So, moving on. And again, that source is from the Talmud, the Talmud. They also have a practice called the Sheva Mitzvot ben Noach, which is the Noahide law. Now, the Noahide law is on record here in the United States. The Jewish people, the Ashkenazi Jewish practitioners, came to the United States. I believe it was President Bush II that they got him to, put Noahide law into law. And again, the book of Exodus and Noahide law is saying that these are laws that non-Jewish people can practice. So if you're a non-Jew, you have a separate law, basically saying that these Noahide laws are for all foreigners that are foreign to the Jewish law. And the book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 49, the Bible says, one law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among you. The same thing in Leviticus chapter 24, verse 22. Ye shall have one manner of law, as well as for the stranger. Numbers chapter 15, verse 16. One law and one manner shall be for you, and for the stranger that sojourn with you. So this Noahide law that the Jewish Ashkenazi is putting out there is contrary to biblical teaching. That's the quick note that I wanted to discuss with you. It took 6 minutes, but here we go. The Tetragrammaton, which is Greek, in Hebrew or in Ashkenazi Hebrew, it is Shem HaMeforash. Now, the Apostle Paul in Romans chapter 10, verse 13, it says, whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. That's Romans chapter 10, verse 13. But if you go to Romans chapter 10, verse 1, the Apostle Paul is talking to brethren. My heart's desire and prayer to the God for Israel. For Israel. That's chapter 10:10. But in chapter 10:1, he's talking to Israelites when he's saying, whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord. Because if you know the name of God, it is the God of Israel. He is not the God of everybody, which Christianity preaches. The God of Israel. So he's telling these Israelites in the book of Romans, because these Israelites are in Rome, he's telling them, whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Saved from what? Saved from Roman tyranny. Saved from their enemies. That's been the history of the entire Bible. God saving the Israelites from their enemies. Acts chapter 2, verse 21. Luke is in agreement with the same thing. He's letting us know what the apostle Peter said. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. Who is Peter talking to? When you go to Acts chapter 2, Peter is talking to all the Jews who are there in that area. He's not talking to any foreigner. In fact, it says that their Jews started identifying that, hey, these people are talking in the language of the land that we came from. Jews. And if we look at the word deliver, or to deliver, in Hebrew, it's Yasha, to deliver. This is the name of the Messiah, Yasha. Whereas you're calling on this Jesus that human trafficking, murdering thieves, the thieves of Christianity gave you Native Americans, you blacks and you Hispanics, you black and brown people, you mulattoes out there. You have been given a Jesus Christ that is murderous. You have been given a Jesus Christ. You can go to the land that is called Brazil, which means silver in Hebrew. Brazil, they have this huge statue of a Jesus, and they believe that this Jesus has blessed them. But when you look down upon the falava, the ghettos that are in Brazil, you don't see no blessing from this Jesus. that has been given. I grew up in an era where black people were wearing Jesus crosses and, you know, Jesus on their you know, their necklaces. And these people were constantly going to jail. How is that a blessing? The people who were wearing these objects of Christianity were going to jail. Getting to, you know, I didn't see any blessings coming to these people. I was just recently looking at a Geechee person from what is called Gullah. I believe it's South Carolina. Gullah. And Gullah, I don't know if many of you have ever heard the television show, the kids television show, Gullah Island. You know, it was a show that, you know, young black children used to watch, or many children used to watch it, but it was pertaining to black people. Now, Gullah is a Hebrew word, and I was listening to this Geechee person. He calls him the Geechee, the Gullah Israelite, and he showed us that Gullah is a Hebrew word, and it means redemption. The right, by implication, it is the relationship and kindred, or the redeemer, or the redemption right of your kinship, having nothing to do with foreigners. It's a Hebrew word. Let's keep going. Now, in the Psalms, chapter 79, verse 6, Asaph, the recorder, he tells us that we have to call on the name of God. Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 25, Isaiah 65, verse 1, Zephaniah 3, verse 9, 1 Kings 18, verse 24, Elijah versus the Baal worshipers. He's saying, call on your gods, and I will call on the name of my God. 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 11. Naaman, which is, you know, a foreigner, he thought that Elisha would call on the name of his God. You know, a recognized power. Psalms 106, verse 8. Nevertheless, he saved them for his name's sake, that he might make his power, his mighty power, to be known. Again, for his name, which is power. So that throughout the whole Bible, you got the Israelites calling on the name of God for power. But lo and behold, Christianity, they separated God, or the name of God, from his power by giving you Lord and God. And not just Christianity, you have the other Abrahamic faith. Islam, which is to say God, his name is the God. You know, well, you got a person called Charlemagne the God. And he does, you know, he does interviews. Him and his crew does interviews with famous people. He's called a god. You know, the Parliament, the British Parliament, they call themselves lords, little gods. You know, so this is a title. This is not something this is not the name of the actual name of God. And the actual name of God has power behind it. Let's keep going. 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14. If my people which are called by my name, if a people are called by the name of God, they're going to have power. Isaiah 43, chapter 43, verse 7. Even everyone that is called by my name, for I have created him for my glory. I have formed him, yeah, I have made him. These people were made by God to emanate the power that comes from God. Acts chapter 2, verse 21. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of God, or the name of the Lord, shall be saved. If you call on the name of the Lord, you're going to receive power, especially the people who it belongs to. Romans chapter 10, verse 13, for whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. This is not Paul talking about Jesus. And again, modern philosophers think that Paul was creating a new religion. No, Paul was talking about the Most High here. And there's two entities in this chapter that he's talking about. He's talking about believing in Jesus and calling upon the name of the Most High. Because you're only going to get power if you call on the name of the Most High. And even Jesus said, he's praying to the Most High, telling them that I told the disciples your name. I told them your name. And what is the name of God? Let's keep going. And well, let's go to Genesis chapter 4, verse 26. And this is the beginning. And to Seth, to him also were born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. So in the beginning, they're calling on the name of the Lord from Seth even to now. And in the end, in the book of Revelation, they're going to be calling on the name of the Lord. Why? Because there's power behind it. There's power behind calling on the name of the Lord. And what is the name of the Lord? And the Most High, he tells them that he wants to be called Isha, which is father or caretaker or husband. That's what he wants to be called by his people. And also he says that he is the great I am, which is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. What is his name? His name is I am, which is power. I am the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But all these other religions have took you away from that power. And they gave you something named Jesus, which is not the person of the Bible you think of. Jesus, there was no J in Hebrew. There's no J in Aramaic. So how can his name be Jesus? And you Christians out there, that you are still pushing this Jesus upon our people. You're continuing a curse. You're continuing a language that has nothing to do with Hebrews. Ancient Hebrews and Hebrews today. This Jesus that you speak of. These gods that you're speaking of. And especially you fake Hebrews out there. Oh, you may have maybe 2 or 3% of Hebrew blood. In fact, to be on that subject real quick, the world is full of Hebrews. The world is full of Hebrews. But all these Hebrews are not Hebrew Israelites. So we're all going to have a similar blood category, but we're not all going to have Hebrew Israelite blood. But to finish this up, the name of God has power behind it. And if you don't know that what the name of God is, the name of God, Aya. If you don't know the name of God, Aya, Shab, then you're not going to have the power that the Messiah of the Hebrews was trying to tell you, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, your own ancestors. I am a Hebrew Israelite and a conscientious objector, and I'm also a minister of peace. Hebrew Israelite.